Hello, everyone. I do realize that by the time you see this video, it will be Saturday. So happy Saturday, everybody. We're over the hump. And we've reached the end of the week. Saturday. And it's the weekend. So, I'm here to talk to you about a very sad subject. Today I will discuss, and they just keep coming faster and faster, so by the time I've made my video, there's a couple more police killings. I'm going to discuss Adam Toledo and Makia Bryant. Now, are these killings the equivalent of what happened to George Floyd? No. No, they are not. But they are killings. So somebody died. Somebody lost their life. That's the ultimate outcome. Somebody lost their life. So we need to respect that. We need to pay our respects and mourn the loss of these two children. And the 16-year-old, it's debatable whether she was a child. It is debatable. Depends on what you consider the maturity. Some individuals reach maturity later. Some individuals reach maturity earlier. For example, I had the mind of basically an adult. I was a little immature, but I had the mind of an adult when I was 13. But some people don't reach maturity until 18. But most people, the vast majority of people, maybe not under the law, because the law is geared toward the weakest among us, the most vulnerable among us. So that's who the law is designed to protect. But most people are adults by age 16. Sorry, folks, but they are. They're not children anymore. Can't call the 16-year-old a child. A 16-year-old is an adult and can be charged as an adult and maybe should be charged as an adult. Most people, when they're 13, you notice 13 is the first number. It says teen in it. 13, most people would consider that the teens. The beginning of the teens. And since it's the beginning of the teens, a 13-year-old could be considered a young adult, a teenager, a young adult, a teenager, or like a young woman, for example. Young woman or young man. So, now that we've briefly discussed mental age and what the maturity level is of various teenagers, let's dive right into this. Adam Toledo, I saw the footage. Okay, he ran away from the police. Police could have just let him run away, but there was a report of a shooting nearby. There were shots fired. So they had to investigate, and they had to catch whoever had the gun. Adam Toledo was running from the cops, and he stops with his back to the cop near a fence. He reaches back like this with his arm. It is his left arm. They said it was his right arm, but it's his left arm. He reaches back with his left arm, gets something in his hand, gets real close to the fence, and gives a good toss with his arm behind the fence. Then he turns and raises his hands. This all happens in the matter of split seconds, okay? 3 seconds max. Raises his hands. Boom. Shoot him. Shoot Adam Toledo. And killed him dead instantly. And the cop goes around the side of the fence and about Oh, I would judge from the footage that it was about. It was less than 10 yards away. They found a gun that had been in Adam Toledo's possession. Now, the cops are claiming that was Adam Toledo's gun. Other people are saying, well, somebody just left that gun there, and there's a lot of crime in the neighborhood, so it could have been somebody else's gun, and it wasn't Adam Toledo's. Why was he reaching for something? Why was his hand darkened for a moment on the video? Why did it look like there was a barrel protruding from his hands? Why did he move his arm, toss his arm behind the fence? Yeah, chances are excellent that he had the gun. Now, that doesn't excuse shooting him once he raises his hand, but it happened so fast, and all the cop really had time to see. All the cop really had time to see was him reaching for the back of his pants with his left arm and doing something with his arms. The very next moment, Adam Toledo could have turned the gun on him, shot the cop dead. Adam Toledo wanted to conceal the evidence that he had a gun. And that was a fatal mistake, because just by reaching for the gun, the cop was ready to shoot him right then and there. He should not have had the weapon in his hand. Doesn't excuse shooting him, but it makes sense. And probably the cop will get off in the Adam Toledo case. Probably the cop will get off. I know you hate hearing that, and it makes you very sad. I'm sad too. Beautiful 13-year-old boy. Young man. Young teenager gets shot by the police. But you have to teach your kids, if a cop is chasing you, do not reach for your weapon. Let the cop disarm you. Don't even tell the cop you have a weapon. Just reach for the air, reach for the sky. Don't try to conceal evidence. Don't reach for the weapon. Don't reach for the weapon at any time. Keep your hands in the air at all times. Certainly don't run away. But he didn't know that, and he didn't do that. Could have been the cop that was dead. We didn't know that Adam Toledo was ready to surrender. We didn't know that because it happened in a fraction of a second, just like that. And let's face it, a cop's reaction time is not that good. When he sees somebody reach for a weapon, he opens fire because he doesn't have time. It's a shootout. It's a shoot 'em up. Bang, 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 bang. In a shootout, anything can happen and anyone can die. That's why you don't reach for the weapon. Because the cop doesn't know you're going to give up. All they know is that you're reaching for the weapon. It takes them a fraction of a second to shoot you. More time than the human brain has to react. You may not believe it, because cops practice and practice and practice as hard as they can to shorten their reaction times. They practice as hard as they can to shorten their reaction times so they can make these split-second decisions. But it was just more. It was too little time for the cop to react. It was too little time for them to make that split-second decision to change what they were doing. He just happened to raise his hand just as the trigger was being pulled, and it was too late to take that back. It was too late to take that. And it was very sad. It was very sad, but based upon Adam Toledo's actions, and they're saying that they shouldn't have these high-speed foot chases. That's how they catch a lot of their criminals, is on a foot chase. Because if they don't do foot chases ever, they're never going to catch anyone, including hardened criminals that could do some real damage. So the Adam Toledo case really is a tragedy. Really is a tragedy, and it really is sad because Adam Toledo was ready to surrender. But the cop just didn't have the time based upon Adam Toledo's actions trying to conceal the weapon. Should not have reached for the weapon. So the cop cop in that case, even though it was very sad and it shouldn't have happened, the cop gets a pass because he didn't know that Adam Toledo wasn't about to shoot him the next second. He didn't know what he was doing. It was too late to react. It was really fast. Watch the video for yourself. It was extremely quick. Ask yourself if you would have time to react. So there's that. Second thing is Ma'Khia Bryant. Ma'Khia Bryant, she was a violent girl. There, I said it. You're all upset about her. You're all upset. You're all sad for her. You're all mad at the cop. Ma'Khia Bryant was out of control. Okay, she was fighting with people with a kitchen knife in her hands. She had a kitchen knife that she had grabbed from the kitchen. She had a knife in her hands, fighting with one person. The other person, she gave her a shove, and she ran away. Then she went right after the girl in pink. She went right after this girl in dressed all in pink. She had her knife raised. She was ready to stab, stab, stab. The cop was on the scene. He was talking to her. He gave her several chances to drop the knife and to back off. She ignored the cop, just as if he wasn't there, just as if she could do whatever she pleased with a cop there. Shot her 4 times in the back. And she's dead now. Pretty open and closed case. She wasn't about to surrender. She didn't have her hands in the air. She didn't drop the knife. She wasn't about to give up. She was in the process of killing somebody. And if the cop hadn't been there, she would have carved up the girl in pink like a Thanksgiving turkey. What would Black Lives Matter have done about that? Because the girl in pink was black also. Would they have cared about the girl in pink? Would they have marched for the girl in pink? Would they have burned candles or displayed signs saying this violence against children must stop for the girl in pink? No. No, they didn't care whether she lived or died. All that mattered was the cop, that it was violence by a cop. Because apparently cops get held to a higher standard than other human beings. And cops are worse than other human beings. But if cops are worse than other human beings, then why are they held to a higher standard? Figure that one out. It doesn't make sense. It's just hate. They just hate the cops. They hate them. And Ma'Khia Bryant was a violent girl. She was violent. And I would like to speak very briefly about her circumstances. Ma'Khia Bryant was a foster child. She was a foster kid. And I have been in foster care, okay? Foster kids are like pure evil. They really are. The foster families, their natural children and their adopted children. They're pure evil. The foster kids can be pure evil also. Could just be pure, unadulterated evil, especially teens. And I've had plenty of exposure to foster teens and to the foster family's natural children and adopted children that were teens. I've had plenty of exposure. I can tell you right now, they're evil. Oh, they're so evil. They're such mean, cruel, vicious. And the one foster family I had, all the teens in the entire household took away my clothes and chased me up the stairs. I was backing up the stairs, going up the stairs backwards while they chased me coming forwards, grabbing my towels away from me until I was naked. Then I ran up and went into my room And this older boy that was their natural son cornered me in the room. And he said, "Have you ever seen a prostitute?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, look in the mirror." And thank the goddess he went away instead of raping me. But he was mad. He was mad because I caught him and the foster girl lying together. They weren't having sex. They were just laying down together. And I cracked a joke. I didn't tell anyone. I just cracked a joke. And that was enough. Boom, he was ready to get revenge. And he did. They all did. All the teens in the whole household. There were 4 teens chasing me up the stairs, including the girl. 3 boys and 1 girl, all chasing me up the stairs and removing my only covering, which was these towels. They said, "You only need 1 towel." So they grabbed that towel, and I was naked from the waist down. Then they said, "You don't need any towels," and they grabbed the other towel. And then I ran to my room. Then he cornered me. The next, and then of course the adopted boy in that family molested some little boys. And so because of that, because they reported it, I got kicked out of that family, and they took away all the foster kids. Next family I was in was a racist adopted son. Very, very, very racist. And the whole school was racist. It was a racist town. The whole town was racist. The whole school was racist. And there was this racist boy. And boy, oh boy, did he hate me. Oh, he hated me. And he turned all the kids in the whole household into racists. He had this girl. She was older than me. She was a year older. And she was another foster kid. And they had a relationship. And I caught them together talking in the household, and she was sort of clinging to him, and they were having an argument. And she was trying to placate him, and he was mad. And I just laughed at them. I laughed and laughed and laughed. After that, was swearing in the car, talking to his mom, his adopted mom, talking to her and swearing and cussing about me and using the N-word. And just because he didn't go as far as cornering me naked, but yeah, I caught him. He was having a physical relationship with this foster kid, and the hell if they had condoms. I know you don't like hell, but it's a lurid story, so it requires language. Yeah, was foster kids can be, and her adult children were despicable in that family. They were absolutely despicable people. One of them was trying to discourage me from taking drafting because she was a drafter and she was jealous. She was insanely jealous of me. She wasn't normal. She wasn't normal. So, and there was her adult son was the oldest, and his wife, and their 4-year-old daughter that I already told you about. It was a bad situation. Really bad situation. So, I can understand why Makia Bryant might want to kill somebody in her foster family. I can understand why. But you don't do it. You don't do it. You don't go through with it. You don't act totally out of control, like a raging killer. You don't turn into a raging killer. Even if you feel like killing somebody, you don't do it. You don't kill somebody. So she crossed the line. She crossed the line into violence, and she was a violent girl, and the police officer now is in trouble for doing the police officer's job and protecting the girl in pink. That Black Lives Matter, by the way, who doesn't even care about her life. Protecting the girl in pink from an untimely and violent and very painful end. It's kind of sad. And the White House called it tragic. I don't know how tragic it was. It's tragic that she decided to pick up a knife. That was tragic. But was justifiable defense of a citizen, of a citizen's life. I'm sure the girl in pink is grateful. Nobody else is grateful because no one cares about her, but the girl in pink is grateful. And she would be dead now if it hadn't been for that police officer. Yeah. People don't care about the life of the victims. They only care about the life of the criminal. And 16-year-old with a knife is a criminal. Sorry, she's not a child. She's not a child. She's not an infant. She is an adult. Because most people are adults by age 16. Yes, they are. Only a person who's mentally challenged really takes until age 18 to become an adult. So, yeah, that was really sad. All of these cases were sad, but the cops in both cases are not going to be prosecuted because they were just doing their jobs, trying to protect the public from physical harm with these kids with weapons. And they're getting younger and younger with these weapons. Oh my gosh, a 13-year-old with a gun. Oh my gosh. Shocking. People are arguing it wasn't his gun. What was he reaching for then? Why was he reaching into the back of his pants, where most guns are kept? Why was he reaching into the back of his pants? Why did he have his hand behind the fence where they found the gun? It was all caught on camera, several angles. There were like 64 cameras trained on that spot. They looked at it from every angle, and they got some really good shots of the whole chase, including the body cam. So there was nothing that could be done to save either one of these teens. There's nothing that could be done to save these young adults. Their own actions led to their very sad deaths. And while they may think of themselves as foot soldiers in the war against the cops, just any way that they can bring the cops down, one cop at a time, by sacrificing their lives, I do not think that that is a very good idea at all. I don't think that young people should be throwing it all away. It's basically suicide. It's like murder-suicide. And I don't think they should be throwing it all away just to get back at the cops or to bring the cops down. They shouldn't be dying just to bring the cops down. I think they should be protecting their lives and actually interested in the police, not police brutality, but in police work, what the cops do, what they're looking for, and how they react in certain situations, how they're trained to act. Because once you know how the cops react in any given situation, then you know what to do. You know not to flee. Or if you flee, you know not to reach for a weapon. You know to put your hands in the air. Yeah, like, for example, there was the case of black individual, black man, that supposedly said, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." Um, he never said don't shoot. They made that up. It was just a rumor. Just like the rumor, he never said don't shoot. And it's debatable whether he ever had his hands in the air. There were like over 10 witnesses, and each of them had a different story about the scene. Each of them had a different story, including the officers at the scene. He never said don't shoot. He never raised his hands and walked toward the police. Never happened. And that started the riot in St. Louis. St. Louis was completely devastated a few years back because someone started a rumor that they said don't shoot, don't shoot. That's become very popular. This don't shoot, don't shoot. But what if someone is saying don't shoot while they reach for their gun? What if somebody's saying don't shoot while they're aiming the gun at you and ready to pull the trigger? Don't shoot, bang, bang, bang. Most people will defend their lives. Most people are concerned about their lives and want to protect their lives. So a cop will just, if they have a weapon, they're just going to act out of self-defense, naturally. Even if it wasn't their job to shoot you, they're going to shoot you because they have a gun and they want to live. They want to live. Even if it's in prison, they want to live. So if you're saying don't shoot and you're reaching for a weapon or aiming a weapon at somebody, they're going to shoot you. They're not going to listen to your words. But he never said don't shoot. And I'm so sorry. I'm horrible with names. I think that was... No, it wasn't Trayvon Martin. I don't remember. Don't remember the name. Was a terrible thing, and there was so little evidence. That's why these cops now need the body cams. I think it's a good thing. I think these body cams are nothing but good. I think the more cameras we have, the better, because they can always prove or disprove various claims that are made. We almost need cameras because it's always he said, she said, always somebody getting into trouble because of false testimony or false witnesses. But cameras can put an end to that. They can put an end to false witnessing, which is wonderful. For the first time in history, we can contradict a false witness, shoot them down. That's good. That's a good thing. Some places we don't have cameras. Like, we don't have cameras in bathrooms for obvious reasons, because there's people getting naked in a bathroom. A lot of bad things can happen in bathrooms too. So, what do we take away from this? Well, all of the stuff. That's why I tell you that each of these cases has to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Okay? They all have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. The police union. Open, closed. Open, closed. Shut the book. Case over. It was a cop. Cops can do no wrong. End of story. We don't want a discussion. The cop is innocent automatically. Open and closed. Open and closed. Case closed. What does Black Lives Matter say? Aha! Aha! What's a cop? Aha! They must be guilty. Open, closed. Open, closed. Open, closed. Case closed. It was a cop. He's guilty. And the victim may or may not be a person of color, and there was a huge protest recently for a white guy that was a killer and white guy that was a killer got shot by police coming out of a trash dumpster, and apparently he was armed, and they shot him coming out of he was hiding in the dumpster after he had committed a crime. They had a big protest for him. Black Lives Matter came out, protested for this white guy that was in the trash dumpster. Don't even remember his name. I wrote it down at the time, and I intended to talk about him, but I know it happened. Yeah, it's open closed, case closed. We know who's guilty, and we know who's innocent, just based on our group identity as black, as white, as an officer of the law, as a liberal, as a conservative. We already know who's guilty and who's innocent. Case closed. Open and shut case. We know who's guilty. Oh, police officer shoots a 16-year-old. Bad officer. Bad officer. Oh, she just happened to be killing someone. Let her kill him. Let her kill whoever. Let her run free. We don't need cops. Let people run free and do what they please. Let people commit murder. Let people rape. Let people commit crimes. Let people drive drunk. Let people have expired license plates. Let people do whatever they please. Whatever they feel like doing, let them do. We don't want or need cops anymore. We don't need them for anything. They don't do anything that I've ever noticed. And we don't want them. So goodbye. Goodbye, cops. Bye-bye. And so, how long would it take after the cops are gone for society to begin to break down, and for people who formerly opposed the cops to actually come around and say, yeah, we need cops again? How long will that take? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? How many murders would have to take place? How many graveyards would have to fill up without any cops before we would take notice and begin to do something? How long would it take for society to begin to break down altogether? We don't know, because we haven't tried that experiment yet. Because the majority still value cops, and know that even if some of them are evil, that they're a necessary evil, and that it's an evil that has to be born to bear up underneath a burden. It's a burden that must be borne, because the vast majority of them are good guys, and they do really good work. Sometimes they drop the ball, sometimes they don't solve the case, sometimes they have a lousy track record. It all depends on the culture established in the police precinct and in the police union. If it's an atmosphere that supports police brutality, violence, and also negligence, gross negligence of duty, then yeah, there's going to be very slipshod police work, and cases will go unsolved. It all depends on the leaders and the atmosphere that gets established, and also the officers themselves. So, what do we take away from this? Well, we all live in physical reality. What does physical reality have to do with this? Because we live in physical reality, and because our Creator is creative, get that, Creator, creative, we all bear a variety of physical forms and shapes. We all like to do different things with our physical forms and shapes. That should be obvious. That's the obvious part. What's not so obvious is that when we die, we lose our physical forms and shapes. Yeah, our bodies are rotting in the ground. We lose our physical form and shape. Then we take to the skies, right? We're spirits, free spirits. We're supposedly free. But then, when we get to our destination, when we get where we're going, our Creator, whoever that may be, holds us to account for what we've done while we were in the physical, while we had physical form, while were in physical reality. And physical reality is constantly changing. Yeah, it changes all the time. It may look solid. The wall behind me may look totally solid, and it may look unchanging. And it's wonderful how physical reality endures. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it wonderful you wake up to the same scene the next day that you left it in the night before, as long as nobody's been picking through your space? Everything is where you left it, in the same shape and same form. It's wonderfully enduring. And it has to be, because the background has to not change much in order to tell the story of your life. You have to have the backdrop of physical reality to sustain life and to tell the story of a life. And that's what the Creator does. But it's just an illusion. All this is vibrating molecules, and what are those molecules made of? They're made of energy. So while it endures from day to day, everything is slowly creeping and slowly changing. If you left your space alone, came back months later, I'll bet you'd find stuff in a different shape. You could take a photograph to confirm it for yourself. Find things in a different shape. Things have sagged. Drapery and bedding and clothes have sagged. Things have fallen over. Things are on the ground or on the floor. Not because somebody pushed them over, but because they just fell. Maybe due to a vibration in the earth or some other vibration, because molecules vibrate constantly. Things can just fall over. It's like 1 in 100,000 chance something is going to fall over on its own. But that chance takes place every moment of physical reality. So once you've reached the 100,000th moment, bang, something falls over. It happens all the time. And what does this mean? If you came back 50 years later to your space, completely unattended and unheated, there'd be mildew and mold all over the walls, all over all the objects. Everything would be dirty. The walls would be caving in and breaking down. Yeah, physical reality changes constantly. It's an impermanent. If you didn't have climate control, everything would go downhill. So it is changing all constantly. Physical reality changes. It's not permanent. So this impermanence extends to life. Life is impermanent. We have to constantly sustain ourselves with food, with water. We have to use the bathroom. Those are the three most obvious. And we have to breathe. So we need food, water, air. And we need to use the toilet. Those are the basics for life. But everything has to be working soundly inside the body too. Anything could go wrong any moment, and then we need medical care. And what about exercise? We have to have exercise. So we need space. So there's lots of things that can go wrong with the physical body. It needs lots and lots of care. And the care of the physical body is our responsibility as spirits. So when we're liberated from these bodies, we're taken up to meet the Creator. And we're called to account for all the things we did, what will the Creator say about us? What will she say to us? What will she say to the cops? What will she say to Adam Toledo and Makia Bryant? What will she say to Derek Chauvin? What will she say to them? What will she say to all of these individuals? Some of them have been wronged, like George Floyd. Some of them have done wrong. Some of them have chains of karma with each other. And all of these things are important. They all have to be taken into account by our Creator. In other words, it's not open, shut, open, shut, open and closed. Okay? It's not black and white, black and white. You can see how religious people think. They see that we're all spirits inside. The skin color ultimately doesn't matter. So if skin color ultimately doesn't matter when we get to our destinations, when we're free spirits and we're free of the body and we don't have skin color anymore, what then? What do you do then? How do you judge people? Well, when people don't have skin color, when they don't even have bodies, you don't judge them based on their physical bodies. You begin to judge them based on their minds. You begin to judge them for the content of their character. You begin to judge them on all of their actions and their thoughts and their feelings and their in-between moments. There's different ways you can judge people. The goddess isn't all about judgment. She really isn't. She cares about us. Everything about us. She knows us very intimately. Very, very intimately. She knows all our thoughts. She knows all our feelings. She knows why we do the things we do. She understands our actions and our reactions. It's very hard for her to sit in judgment of us when she knows us so well. It really is. She's seen our whole lives. How can she sit in judgment? Some people really are bad. Like my father. Father was like Adolf Hitler. And Mengele rolled all into one. Some people really are bad. That boy that was adopted, I don't know his early life or the circumstances of his early life or the circumstances under which he was adopted. He had it made. They had a really nice house, really nice spread. He had really nice things for their natural kids and their adopted kids. They got better things than the foster kids got. They got Nintendos, got games, got anything they wanted at all. They were spoiled. And you could see the contrast between the way the foster kids were treated and their adopted and natural kids were treated. And he didn't appreciate any of it. He was a racist anyway. And he slept with the foster girl anyway. Was a year younger than him. And so people don't appreciate what they have. People do negative and bad things. People are corrupt. They are evil. Evil is a part of physical reality too. Evil is a part of our world. Evil is a part of creation. Evil is a part of creation. And we have to come to terms with it. We have to come to terms with it. Right now, the world is ruled by Christians who they stand in judgment, whether right or wrong, of anything, and everything is evil, because they've been taught that the Creator is all good, and that good is what should be striven for, or strove for, and then that evil is evil is bad. Evil is wrong. Evil needs to be destroyed. Evil needs to be conquered. Evil needs to be driven out. What did Jesus say? He said, resist ye not evil. Why would he say resist ye not evil? If evil was meant to be destroyed, conquered, driven out, until there was no trace of it left. Because evil is a part of creation. It's a part of creation. It's just a part of our world. It's just a natural thing. How can we, even the animals, do evil to each other? How can we deny the endurance of evil in physical reality? How can we deny the endurance of evil in physical reality? How can we deny the existence of evil? You probably wonder why wearing these black robes. Not because I'm evil. Not because I'm evil, but because black is beautiful. Yeah. Not to be evil. So, I'll leave you with this. We are spirits. Our physical bodies ultimately really don't matter. Someday we'll be called to account. And it's sad because some of us are weaker than others. And because some of us are weaker than others, they don't have as easy of a time resisting evil. Okay, let's just make this perfectly abundantly clear that the weak do not have the power or ability to resist evil. So when they're called to account, Goddess has to take their weaknesses into account. She has to. She can't just ignore the fact that they're weak. She can point out where they were wrong, but she used them. It's true, the Creator uses weak people to tell a story. And the Creator is a great storyteller. They love stories, and they love telling all sorts of different kinds of stories. They use weak people as plot points. How right is that? How fair is that? To use the weak as a plot point in a story when they have no power to resist. So there is evil in the Creator too, I would argue. But we can't judge the Creator either for that. Because storytelling is so incredibly important. It is. The story is important. Because it molds and shapes who we become and who we are. It molds and shapes our minds and our spirits and our souls. There is a difference between souls and spirits, by the way. Could be argued that the soul is the emotional body, whereas the spirit is the higher essence of the person's being. But mind and soul are part of spirit. So it molds us. It changes who we are and who we become. It makes us stronger. The story is important. But far too often, the story has a tragic end. And we don't know what happens after we die and are called to account. We don't know what Goddess says to these weak individuals. We don't know what she says to them. We don't know whether she scolds them, whether she just points out their errors to them in a gentle way, or is more harsh with them. We don't know. We don't know. And we don't know where they go on from there. But since we're all intelligent beings, since we're all intelligent souls, weakness really is no excuse. The fault lies with the parents of a weak individual for not properly preparing them for life. And ultimately the powers that be are responsible for not properly intervening in a weak individual's life and raising them up to a higher level, to raising them up to their highest ground. And we've seen over and over that the powers that be are corrupt themselves. So how can they raise people up to a higher ground when they're corrupt? And why would they want to when they're corrupt? They look down on the weak. They look down their noses at weakness. They despise and have contempt for the weak. Or else they feel like benevolent gods just sort of floating above them and don't even touch their lives, never have contact with them, never care. They just don't care. So the corruption is on all levels in this world. This is a world for the corrupt and for people to learn lessons about evil and about corruption. And so we should take care of the weak if we can, and try to raise the weak up to a higher ground. Should tell stories like this to, like, for example, officer involved in Dante Wright's murder, or was either a murder or a killing. May not have been murder because she did think it was her gun was a taser. It could be a killing. Very tragic killing where she mistook her weapon for something else. Why would she want to go to jail for the rest of her life? Why? And what is the role of the powers that be in this killing? Wouldn't say it's systemic racism, but it could be the racism of the elites, the racism of the powers that be. People in high places, people in positions of power, those people are very guilty of racism. And if there's a systemic racism, it's because these elites built the system the way they wanted it. How can we blame the elites either? They're only human, right? They're only human also. And not only are they only human, but they're also small individuals. They're small because they're human. And they're corrupt. And compared to a goddess, they're extremely simple beings. And they think they're above all the rest of us, just by virtue of their birth. So that's not good. That's not good. But what can we do about it when we keep giving away our power, keep putting people in positions of power instead of living our lives as if they didn't even exist? And we just go about our lives and do our thing. Go about our lives, do our thing, and maybe take them into account in some degree, but not take them into account, not take the powers that be into account as a victim or as somebody who is fighting for their lives, but take the powers that be into account as someone who wants to foil their plans, foil all of their plans. We lived all of our lives like that. Powers that be, their power would dwindle and wither away, would wither away at the root if we didn't give our power away. It really would. And if we lived our lives not just with the elites in mind, keeping our eyes on the elites, but also caring about the common man and raising the weak up to a higher ground, then just think of the transformation we could make in society and the world, right? Be transformed. We could transform this world if we kept all of this in mind and implemented it. We could come up with lesson plans, stories, advice to the common man, whether they be weak or strong, or somewhere in between, just average. We came up with stories, we came up with lesson plans, we came up with material and taught all of these individuals. We could raise people up to their highest ground. And then these things might poof, just disappear, just stop happening, and the elites would stop having so much power because the common man would be consummately prepared to face any challenge from the powers that be. So that's it. Think about the hereafter. Think about being called to account. Think about people knowing your most intimate moments and details, which is your Creator. Think about that moment. Think about how you want to live your life with the Creator watching you. I know it sounds embarrassing, like they see you in the bathroom using toilet paper, but no biggie, not a big deal. You have to have a physical life, right? You got to take care of certain things, certain physical functions. Not a big deal. Got that from atheist video. God is watching someone use the bathroom. Yeah, it was pretty funny. God is watching someone wipe their butt. Well, guess I'll end there. Yeah, everyone does it. Everybody does it. So no matter how high you sit, you're still sitting right on your derriere, right? It's true. It really is true. And I'll see you next time.